GREENWOOD. Now, a new report from the Centre for Social Justice shows that up to 8 million people living in the UK, representing around a quarter of all households, may want to cancel the festive season due to financial worries. To discuss this report, I'm still with my expert panel. And Matthew Greenwood, let's go to you. Again, as we said just before the break, you're a researcher, you're looking at polling analysis, you're looking at spreadsheets, but you've also been, as you do at the Centre for Social Justice, looking at real hard case studies.
Yeah, absolutely. And let me tell you about a woman called Becky. Becky moved to Tees Valley. She was a 40-year-old single mum who was struggling to make ends meet. And she was presented to by someone in her neighbourhood who welcomed her, who was genuinely kind. And Becky borrowed money from her, knowing that she had nowhere else to go. She didn't have a credit card. She couldn't get credit from anywhere else. And this woman said, I'll give you 50 quid, pay me 100 back a month later. And she did, and Becky was groomed into being
some rate of interest.
A good customer.
100%.
100%,
monthly rate of interest.
And
crikey.
What happened was, eventually, Becky fell behind on payments because there are ups and downs and they affect your life. And this friend turned out not to be a friend. And actually, what they did is they text Becky and they text her kids, telling her that if she didn't pay up, she said to her, they text her kids saying, make sure your mum pays up or I can't stop them coming. And this is what we would refer to as the elusive Mr. Big. And this got so stressful.
Loan sharks.
Loan shark, exactly. And this got so stressful that Becky tried to end her life. And you know what the worst part of all, Liam? The worst part of all is that when it was investigated, it turned out Mr. Big didn't exist.
Yeah.
This was simply coercion at an extremely high APR rate that has a real damaging effect on families across the country. And that's why we're worried now at Christmas, because if people can't make ends meet, where are they going to go? They
go to the twilight lenders, don't they? The doorstep loan sharks. Richard Lane, this is very much your specialism. How unusual is the story that Matthew Greenwood just told?
Well, sadly, it's not unusual at all. I mean, our clients overwhelmingly tell us they absolutely know how to budget. They've squeezed every penny that they can. But ultimately, you can only spin those plates for so long until something goes wrong or something falls over. And you do have to turn to high-cost credit. And that is an extreme example, which we do hear from our clients, them turning to illegal loan sharks. But actually, the interest rates and the APR on legitimate credit that actually lots of people have to turn to, payday loans and types of loans like that, are also astronomically high. And you might be taking out credit in the short term that you think you're able to pay back. You say, well, we can do it this month and we'll be able to pay it back next month. But if something else goes wrong, the washing machine breaks or the car breaks down, it's amazing how quickly these things can spiral out of control for people and put them in a situation where they just can't recover from that problem debt that they've built up.
Richard, briefly, there's been a lot of attempts by governments of various shades to further regulate payday loans, twilight end of the debt and credit market, haven't they? But it never seems to happen. Why doesn't it happen?
I think we have made progress. I think we do have kind of a cleaner, more regulated credit market than we used to do. Actually, what we're seeing more and more from our clients who come to us is it's not the financial products that have caused harm, although they are having to turn to high-cost credit. It's actually just that the safety net that exists in society simply is not enough for them to be able to get by. So we talk a lot more these days as a charity about issues like universal credit, which we know our clients rely on, ensuring that there is actually some sort of safety net that exists so that people don't have to turn to high-cost credit in the first place. We've also been pushing for a no-interest loan scheme, which the Treasury is currently piloting, which is an absolutely fantastic step forward. So if, your washing machine breaks, there is going to be a no-interest loan scheme pilot for households to turn to in the future if that's successful, which could be a real game changer for people.
Very interesting, Richard. I want you to stay in touch with On The Money about that pilot scheme, and we can ascertain how it's going and tell our viewers. We're going to hear a lot more of this in the new year, aren't we? Inflation is going to go up before it goes down. We're already at 5.1%. The Bank of England is saying 6%. 6% inflation can hit poor people really badly, particularly if their wages aren't keeping up.
Yeah, and we just had that Bank of England rate rise, of course, that we were in here discussing at the end of last week. But yes, if wages catch up to inflation, then, that mitigates some of the issues. But a lot of, imagine the people in this report that we're talking about, are not seeing those wage rises, or it's various bits and bobs of professions. And it's not just about the wages, it's about the jobs. So do people want to be the HGV driver? Can they be if they were a single parent, for example? It's not as easy as all of that, is it? So sometimes as economists, we talk about, inflation versus wages, but actually the reality on the ground is it's just painful for people, whatever happens.
The reality on the ground, that's what we deal with here on The Money. Thank you, Matthew, very much, from the Centre for Social Justice. Helen Thomas, of course, and thank you to Richard Lane as well from the debt charity StepChange. A really important discussion. We will carry on examining these debt and cost of living issues here on the show.